Millions of people scream at their televisions, paint their faces, and feel real emotional devastation when a group of strangers loses a game. No excitement, no disappointment, no curiosity, just indifference. And then there's another group of people who watch all of this and feel absolutely nothing. And according to neuroscience and psychology, that indifference isn't random, and it isn't a flaw. It's the result of a brain that is wired differently. Not caring about sports doesn't mean you're boring. It doesn't mean you lack passion, emotion, or loyalty.
And it definitely doesn't mean there's something missing in you.
In fact, there are fascinating differences in how your brain processes meaning, reward, identity, and connection compared to the majority of people who follow sports religiously.
And once you understand those differences, a lot of social confusion suddenly makes sense. To understand why sports matter so much to so many people, you have to start with something ancient. Humans evolved as tribal creatures. For most of history, survival depended on belonging to a group. Your tribe protected you, hunted with you, and gave you an identity. Modern society doesn't require tribes in the same way, but the brain never got that memo. It still craves belonging, shared identity, and common enemies. Sports fill that role perfectly. When someone watches their favorite team, their brain releases oxytocin, the same bonding hormone involved in close relationships. On a chemical level, the brain treats the team as us. It still craves belonging, shared identity, and common enemies. Sports fill that role perfectly. That's why fans say, "We won," or "We lost," even though they never stepped onto the field. The jerseys, chants, rituals, and rivalries all reinforce the illusion of tribal belonging. People who don't care about sports tend to have weaker tribal identity wiring. Their sense of self is less dependent on group affiliation and more rooted in individuality. Psychologists often describe this as lower us versus them thinking. Research has shown that people with low interest in sports display significantly less automatic tribal bias. Their identity doesn't require a team to feel complete. Then there's the reward system. Sports fandom is powered by dopamine, the brain's anticipation chemical. Every play, every possession, every moment of uncertainty triggers a small spike. That tension you feel before opening a present, or before seeing the result of a gamble, that's dopamine. Sports deliver that feeling over and over again for hours.
Brain imaging studies show that watching a favored team activates the same reward circuits involved in gambling and other highly compelling behaviors.
That unpredictability creates what psychologists call intermittent reinforcement, the most addictive reward schedule known to science.
It's the same mechanism that makes slot machines so hard to walk away from. Millions of people scream at their televisions, paint their faces, and feel real emotional devastation when a group of... Millions of people scream at their televisions, paint their faces, and feel real emotional devastation when a group... For people who don't care about sports, that dopamine loop never really starts. And this may not be a choice. Research suggests that genetic differences in dopamine receptor sensitivity can... In other words, your complete indifference to whether a team wins or loses might literally be written into your biology. There's also a difference in how self-esteem is regulated. Sports fans often experience something called basking in reflected glory. When the team wins, it feels like a personal success. When the team loses, fans psychologically distance themselves to protect their ego. People who don't obsess over sports tend to rely less on external victories for self-worth.
Their sense of identity is more internally anchored and less affected by outcomes they can't control.
Sports fans often experience something called basking in reflected glory. When the team wins, it feels like a personal success. When the team loses, fans psychologically distance themselves to protect their ego. People who don't obsess over sports tend to rely less on external victories for self-worth. Their sense of identity is more internally anchored and less affected by outcomes they can't control. Their self-concept stays relatively stable, regardless of what happens on a field somewhere far away.
Many people assume that sports fans are more emotional or empathetic, and interestingly, that's sometimes true.
But empathy is not unlimited. Everyone has a finite capacity for emotional investment.
Sports fans often score higher on certain measures of empathy because they regularly practice caring deeply about other people's struggles.
People who don't care about sports often direct that empathy elsewhere.
Toward personal relationships, creative work, social causes, art, music, nature, ideas, or intellectual challenges.
Studies have found that low interest in sports is associated with higher openness to experience and a stronger appreciation for beauty and creativity.